Hennig. But to you people, I'm Mr. Perfect. And I know a lot of you people sitting there right now wonder what it's like to go through life without making any mistakes. No blemishes, no flaws. From head to toe, absolutely perfect. Yes, being perfect, it has its boring times. Like a simple game of billiards. Well, fool to you common people. Like I said,
Hey, Curt Hennig fans, hello, and welcome to another episode of Nobody Beats Curt Hennig. Nobody. On Rumble, you're probably thinking, my gosh, she's gone green. Yes, I decided to be a little witchy. For your viewing pleasure, if you are on YouTube at this time, you might want to hop over to Rumble. My links are in the description field to see what on earth is she talking about. I can't see a darn thing. That's because you need to go to Rumble. Okay, guys, so we are back again for another episode. I hope you had a spectacular a set of weeks. My birthday bash was awesome, even if I had to do it by myself, right? It was a wonderful time. I like to thank everybody involved, and you guys are amazing to me. I can't thank you enough for doing all that. So yeah, let's get right into it. If you didn't see that, please check that out. That will be coming out on my birthday, or it's already out on my birthday. You guys will be seeing this April 26th, I believe, is when it comes out on Rumble, and then it'll come out later than that on on YouTube. So on YouTube, if you guys feel left out, you want to see my I decided to go green today. So I have lipstick on, and I have the green atmosphere. Green. Mrs. Witchy likes green. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk. I didn't get to talk about this much, though Conan was more my era. I was 11 or 12 when he was in. Well, let's just go back to Conan is. I know him from WCW. Not a lot of people remember him from WWF. He was in the WWF at the time. He was Max Moon. And he was, he did go to WCW and eventually would become Conan. He would also join the NWO, I believe, in 1996 or 7. And then, of course, Curt would join the NWO and get to hang out with Conan. So, and then, of course, Conan would always have that rap versus country that Curt got into. And it was Rap is Crap, of course. That's what came out of that. And Conan was with Rey Mysterio and, of course, with the something soldiers. I can't remember. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about Conan. He has been in ill health, and I'm very sorry to hear this. Like I said, I did not get to talk about this at the time, so but we're going to talk about it now. So I do remember Conan when I was 11 and 12, only because, again, I did watch WCW, and of course he was in the NWO, and he always had that, rowdy and bowdy. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to go on to Danhausen. Of course, thank you, James Romero. I'm so sorry if I butcher your name. Please don't hold that against me. I really will try. If you ever do see this, where you see clips from your show on here, we always talk about it and we react to it, of course. But thank you so much for doing what you do, James, and keep up the great work. So I almost wanted to do the Jesse Ventura thing, but I sort of didn't want to get into the politics scene because, again, everyone has their, opinions. And I sort of I do agree with Jesse. I do think it was a blade job, or what we call, what do they call it? Blading. I do think it was blading. Okay. That is my opinion. I'm sorry if you don't share that. That's fine. If you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, that's fine too. But that is my opinion. I do believe that he bladed. Okay. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Jesse Ventura talks about certain things. So he talks about the White House. And you can see why I didn't really want to get into it. But we are going to stick to Conan right now. Our thoughts are with him. I'm very, like I said, I'm very, very sorry to hear that he is not in good health. I thought he was an okay wrestler. I actually thought he was pretty talented. And again, he got to have that feud with Curt, and he told Curt, you know what? We're not higher up on the card, but let's just go out there and let's just have fun. And then Curt seemed to really enjoy himself with the rap versus country. Okay. Now, even if Curt was with the rap, I'm not much for rap. I will say that. I don't mind it. Like if it's on and it's the only thing that's on, then, you know, of course I will listen. But of course I do not enjoy it. I do not go out of my way to listen to rap. Again, my opinion, trigger warning for those who in my audience love rap. There's nothing, I don't mind rap. Like I said, I don't go out of my way to listen to it. I was always more of a country person. And that's why, like, I have AI songs dedicated to Curt Hennig, because he did like all music. He said that in his interview. I can't remember which one now, but he is a all music lover. He's actually said it in several interviews, with the one that I shared with the lady in 2002. And then also on the radio show with titlematch.com that Curt actually did back in 2001, I believe. So that one is actually older than, the one he did with I can't remember her name now. And I'm drawing a complete blank. And I should know this because I'm like, the biggest fan of Curt Hennig ever. But anyway, I apologize if she's out there watching, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name. But anyway, so we're going to talk about Conan, then we're going to talk about Danhausen, and I have a special treat for you, an AWA exclusive, Greg Gagne and Curt Hennig. I know Greg Gagne. And Curt Hennig versus Dennis Stamp and Billy Robinson. Now, Billy Robinson was a great English wrestler. Many believe that he is the one who showed Curt how to do the perfect plex or the Hennig plex, whatever you want to call it. So we will be watching that as the main event, and it's only like it's 9 minutes long, but the match is like 4 minutes, and then there's like 2 minutes of, or there's 4 minutes of match, or 4 or 5 minutes of match, and then there's like 4 minutes of interview. So we will watch that at the end, but let's get to Conan. Conan, not so good. All right. Take it away, James.
Hello all, James here, and this is going to be a tiny bit more of a slapdash video than I'd normally get out there, but I don't have very much time constraints and all that, so I wanted to get this news out there, and also some other injury news as well. There's been quite a few developments in the last day or two regarding health woes and injuries of pro wrestlers, both current and former, that I'm going to go through here. But first and foremost, we have to talk about Conan. So, Conan, one of the biggest legends in Mexican wrestling history. His American career was kind of like nothing compared to his Mexican career. So once again, if you've only seen his American stuff, then I really advise you going to like the early 90s and searching out some Conan from there. He was a mainstream star. The Hulk Hogan of Mexico, they called him. He really was that popular at one time. He was also the AAA booker for quite a long time as well. And I think he was still working with AAA after WWE had bought a controlling stake in that company. Anyway, he's had myriad health woes over the past couple of decades, in fact, and now it seems to have just gotten that much worse. So I'm going to read from this report. On Friday, Mexican sports outlet Record reported that Conan was hospitalized in San Diego and had one of his legs amputated following medical complications. Record cited its columnist, I've got glasses on, for the news. Other outlets have since reported the news, citing Record's reports. However, the information has not been independently confirmed. No official statement has been issued. So we are going to go on the basis that this is true. Hopefully it's not true, but apparently it's looking like it is at this point. Quotes based on information from, I'm not going to attempt to say that. Record can confirm that the Cuban wrestler Carlos Santiago Espada, better known as Conan, has just undergone the amputation of his leg. Carlos is in delicate health in the US, much strength Conan. And once again, I can confirm 62-year-old Conan had a leg amputated for some time now. The AAA star has been dealing with health problems that have left him in a delicate state in San Diego, US. So once again, I've said that Conan has just gone through ridiculous amounts of health issues in the last couple of decades. So in the mid-2000s, it was discovered by doctors that he had severe kidney failure. This was attributed partly to years of painkiller use from wrestling injuries. He received a kidney transplant in 2007 while also dealing with serious hip degeneration that required hip replacement that same year, and also another one in 2014. Keep 2014 in mind, because Conan took a year out from wrestling around the end of 2006, but surprisingly came back and then performed fairly frequently up until about 2010. After that, he reduced his bookings considerably, once again, health reasons, I'm sure, with his final match being a Battle Royal at AAA Triple Mania 27 in 2019. So even after 2 hip replacement surgeries, he was wrestling very infrequently, of course, another 5 years afterwards. But in 2021, he was hospitalized with complications from COVID-19, which worsened his kidney problems. And it also revealed the heart blockage that required treatment. And by 2022, the transplanted kidney was failing, forcing him back onto dialysis while awaiting another transplant. And then in the mid-2020s, he's continued battling kidney failure and other complications related to those long-term issues. Weirdly, and I don't say this, once again, if this is true, it's unconfirmed, but a lot of people are reporting this, and 2 separate people are saying that it has happened, but we have to wait for independent verification, of course. But I don't say this to be funny, but I was thinking this is the second NWO member in less than a year that's undergone this extraordinary medical procedure. The other one being Buff Bagwell, of course. Now, once again, if you only ever know Conan from his American wrestling in WCW or TNA or whatever it was absolutely nothing. Even in the NWO, it was nothing compared to his career in Mexico. So if you really want to see him, just how popular he was, search for something, to the early to mid 90s. It really
I think
is
he
night
was
and
pretty
day
popular
comparing
in WCW.
NWO or TNA Conan versus
the crowd in WCW was always like, rowdy and bowdy. I mean, they literally would talk back to him all the time. He would say, "Olale," and they'd all say, "Olale," I do remember that. So I beg to differ. I think his WCW stuff was, especially with Curt Hennig and the West Texas Rednecks, I think it actually outdid anything he did in the NWO. So, okay.
Mexican Conan. Now, we're going to move on now because that is far from the only health woe injury happening at the moment. The next one is Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace, seen here with a boot on, and I can't really zoom in here, but I thought originally she was just wearing a sock. No, she's just got one of the most aggressive fake tan jobs I've ever seen, and then stops right at the athletic sock line, I guess. Anyway, but yes, she is sporting an ankle boot there with Chelsea Green, in fact. So, they can, nothing else, share a wheelchair, which actually Jordan did make that joke as well. So she injured her ankle on WWE, the SmackDown tapings, but not on SmackDown because it was a main event. So they tape I think it's Saturday morning. If we do get main event, I don't know where you get it anymore. But I think that's either the Saturday or Sunday morning show. Anyway, it's whatever. It's the C show or the B show at this point. And she was doing, in fact, I've got video for you instead. So we don't know how severe this injury is, but here's the video that Jordynne has posted herself. I'll make it as possible. And if you're squeamish, look away now. Yeah. I say squeamish. It's not exactly Sid Vicious snapping his leg.
Yeah, that was gross.
Half.
I watched that too.
Do you know what? No one likes to see an ankle roll. I certainly don't. I've not done it to that severity, but I've done it enough that I know it absolutely hurts. And it's one of those injuries where, once again, you would probably rather break an ankle rather than do some, real ligament damage or tendon damage or something like that, because you can never tell how quickly you can get back from an injury such as that. Whereas if it's just a simple broken bone and no sort of, tissue damage around it, you can basically just say 6 weeks or whatever. But all that was it. She was just, I think, just jumping over Alba Fire and landed on a leg wrong, rolled her ankle, and now that's where we are. So that's Chelsea Green and Jordan Grace with both ankle injuries, both on the right ankle in the lead up to WrestleMania, which is actually, of course, the one time of year more than any other you don't want to get hurt. So that is where Jordan Grace is at this point. Now, there's one more thing that I wanted to mention here before we go, and that is Steph DeLander versus TNA as well. So this also relates to injuries as well. So I'm going to be reading partially from Cage Side Seat. So Steph DeLander and her husband Mance Warner, they both left TNA very, very suddenly. And Steph gave an interview to TMZ's wrestling podcast, Inside the Ring, describing why she ended up leaving so abruptly. So I'm not going to go through absolutely everything here, but she had 2 neck surgeries, didn't announce it, and fully healed, fully recovered. And that's, good. Obviously, it's great news, of course. And she went to WWE's surgeons. But apparently, TNA, despite her pitching storylines, was unhappy with her wrestling ever again, which is kind of a problem when you're signed to a wrestling company that doesn't pay you unless you're wrestling. So that's why her and her husband in real life, Mance Warner, left TNA kind of abruptly at that point. So TNA didn't foot any of the bill, according to Steph DeLander.
Yep.
Including the rehab. They didn't pay for any of her neck surgeries or the post-surgical physio.
They have no
or
insurance. Wrestlers have no insurance.
And
wrestlers have no medical insurance. They are responsible for that outside of wrestling. That's why they're independent contractors and not employees. Now, if they were employees, I would hope that the WWE and so on and so forth would actually get them, health insurance. But, well, that didn't happen, did it? So here we are again where, wrestlers just foot the bill because guess what? You get hurt. Injuries are a part of wrestling.
That's pretty much it. So she couldn't wrestle and they weren't paying her to not wrestle. And you kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Why sign somewhere that's not going to pay for your surgeries or anything else? But I'll give you a couple of quotes, if nothing else. Carlos Silva, TNA president, couldn't even tell her what the injury was. He didn't know. He couldn't tell me what my injury was. It's definitely based off personal feelings. I've not been evaluated by any medical professional on the TNA end. They haven't evaluated my medical history. They haven't contacted.
All right. That's all I wanted to share with that one. I think that's a shame that, they can't get health insurance. Their independent contractors can't get health insurance because they're independent contractors. So they are by themselves or have to pay high premiums because, and again, this goes back to, politics and that whole thing. But I think it's a shame that wrestlers or professional wrestlers such as Curt Hennig had to fit the bill when it came to their own medical insurance. I think it's nonsense. And I can't believe that in supposedly the greatest country in the world, we have to have independent contractors or professional wrestlers fit the bill for their own surgeries. I know Jake the Snake had a GoFundMe for shoulder surgery that he needed. And he was just so overwhelmed with people who wanted to help him get better. I did see that. So anyway, we wish Conan well. I am so glad that he is much better. I hope that his health will continue to improve and that we can see him back. If not in a wrestling capacity, because I would never want him to re-injure himself, then in a commentary position or in some kind of managerial role with AAA. I believe The Undertaker, I heard, is now booking for that instead of Conan. So I wish Conan well. He was nice enough to answer my letter on the show. I have that. If I don't remember I think it was episode 12 or 13. If you guys want to check in the archives, go ahead, go back through and check it. Conan, Disco Inferno, and Shane Helms, I think, answered my question to Disco Inferno, of course, because it was him versus Curt Hennig on the December 22nd, 1997 episode of Nitro. And it was when the NWO took over. That took a little while to, unfold, but the NWO takes over. And then, of course, they have the Curt Hennig versus, and they at the commentating table, they had Rick Rude, Kevin Nash, and Eric Bischoff. And then, of course, Bobby Heenan will come in and plead for his job. Again, I was like 11 when this happened. So anyway, so we're going to go to the next one. What's next for Danhausen? Let me get that up. Actually, I'm going to take a 5-minute break and I'll catch you on the flip side. All right. And we're back. All right. So, we're going to hear what is next for Danhausen. Spoiler alerts of what may or may be happening with him. I do not know the man myself. I know he is a friend, a very good friend of, CM Punk. I love CM Punk. I think he's a great wrestler. I think he has great charisma. And he's won me over. How did that happen? It's Punk's charisma, I think. I would love to have seen CM Punk versus Curt Hennig. I think that would have been a very great match. That would have been WrestleMania material, in my opinion. Talk about, main eventing with the greatest wrestler in the world, and then one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, CM Punk. I think CM Punk has really made a name for himself. He's had a lot of controversy in his life, but I do think that, CM Punk is spectacular. And again, he won me over, and I don't really like any of the new superstars. I do like Cody because I like Dusty. I admit it. I loved Dusty Rhodes. And I love Cody Rhodes. So I did, of course I love Joe. Of course I love Joe. I think they gave him one bad gimmick, and then he kind of got to breathe on his own and become Curtis Axel. But poor Joe. Anyway, I wasn't much for Ted DiBiase Jr. or I wasn't much for Randy Orton either. And Randy Orton's third generation. I wasn't much for The Rock. Nope. Didn't like The Rock. He was okay. I didn't like his little nursery rhymes. I didn't like that. I was more of a Stone Cold fan. I like the Stone Cold Said So and stuff like that. I'm trying to think what else. Not a lot. I didn't like a lot of wrestlers. But then there were some that I thought were okay. Like, Juventud Guerrero was okay. I liked his Mexican style of wrestling. And the Ultimo Dragon. I liked when he would spray the mist. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. The Great Muta would do that too. So I was, that's cool. But anyway, so let's go to this. What is next for Danhausen? I'll pull that up. Thank you, James Romero, again for doing the great work that you do.
Hello, everybody. James here. Now, Danhausen, of course, debuted at Elimination Chamber 2026 this past Saturday, and for me, I thought it all went great. Apart from one thing, but it was a genuinely earnest attempt to make Danhausen into a major character on WWE television. But the one thing that went wrong, of course, is that WWE assumed that their entire audience already knew who Danhausen was, or the character was, or whoever. They thought they were over familiar, basically, is what they thought with the guy. But Danhausen has pretty much exclusively made a name for himself on the indies. And that's considering that he was signed with AEW for 4 years, but they didn't use him for at least 2 of those years, especially considering he hadn't been on TV for over a year at this point. So despite the light show, the music, the dancers, the jar of teeth, The miserable Chicago fans booed Danhausen's segment by the end of the... It only went 2 minutes 30 as well. Although the Chicago crowd also did have to sit through 40 minutes of wrestling, 50 minutes of introductions, and about 19 hours of commercials to get to that point. So you can't blame them too much for being that salty. Now, the debut kind of fell flat, as we know, which ironically is the most Danhausen thing ever. But what about the follow-up? Because WWE clearly has big plans for him, if nothing else, because they brought him in as Danhausen, complete with the entire character that he created. They've not renamed him like Royce Keys, etc., that I won't go on about again. But on Raw, as a follow-up yesterday, as I record this, Danhausen turns up in a backstage segment for like a minute and a half. And not surprisingly, he was on Raw. And I suspect this is because CM Punk absolutely loves the dude. And I also suspect that CM Punk is pulling for WWE to hire him. So anyway, Danhausen confronts Adam Pearce. Here we go. And then he immediately makes fun of the fact that, or at least alludes to the fact that nobody liked the segment, at least in the live crowd.
As you saw, Danhausen debuted to a thunderous applause and cheers. So I've got a list of demands for you.
So anyway, unfortunately, I can't keep playing that because this is YouTube and YouTube ruins everything. So Danhausen then reels off a list of demands to Adam Pearce, which includes... I suspect it was written in crayon. I can kind of see highlighter somewhere as well, so I guess they were the most important ones. He wants a WWE Hall of Fame induction. He wants his face in all the production trucks, and he especially wants a photo with Triple H, who is pointing at him. He also calls Adam Pearce undercover GM Steve Austin, I guess.
Right.
I think part of the character is that he's stuck in 2003.
And then he goes, I curse you.
So anyway, Judgment Day then turns up and mocks Danhausen, no less. I'm just trying to... Here we go. I'm just trying to find the thing. So mocks Danhausen, basically tells him to beat it, and that's because Danhausen says, hello, Finn, hello, Dom, hello, that guy who looks like overgrown hornswoggle. He didn't say that bit, but he did
that was yours,
stumble
right?
on his name. But anyway, after Judgment Day then tells Danhausen to beat it, Danhausen takes it not in his stride and says...
Are cursed.
So he curses... the Judgment Day, which hopefully this is going to be, once again, a continuing theme. Well, I'm still waiting for him to curse the Vision, or at least him be explained that he is the cursor of the Vision, which is why they have so many injuries. But then, later on in the show, Dominic Mysterio, who had an IC Intercontinental title match with Penta, loses the title to Penta. So Penta is the new Intercontinental Champion. Spoiler. Look, if you're clicking on this video, you're pretty much going to expect spoilers at this point. So, the reason during the match that he lost was because Finn Balor stopped JD from giving Dom the ring bell hammer to cheat and lie and steal yet another victory. And then Penta avoided a 619 and then hit the Mexican Destroyer and then got the clean win over Dominic. But I'm hoping that this ends up being a follow-up to Danhausen versus the Judgment Day. It could happen. I hope it does. I don't know if Danhausen's then going to appear on SmackDown and do the same thing, but I've got a feeling that if he's going to end up anywhere, he's going to be on Raw, so every brand kind of has their one wacky character. Just as an aside, Raw was actually better than usual last night, but that's maybe because I skipped through so many commercials and backstage segments. I got through it in like 1 hour 20, so... maybe that's just the way to watch it these days. And speaking of commercials, I'll probably end up doing a full video on this, but on Netflix, as you watch it, and I watch it the day after because I'm not going to, start watching at 1 a.m. or whenever it starts, is that it had 11 yellow little dots and dashes on the progress bar, right? Which I'm taking as it had 11 commercial breaks throughout a 2 hour and 2 hour 20 show or whatever it was. And people are complaining more that they can no longer skip the commercials, even if they, leave it a long time afterwards. And I've also found that they are putting at least 2 commercial breaks on any match that goes like beyond 10 minutes. So the commercial thing's getting egregious. But once again, if you pause it and then skip through it all for later, it's more bearable. And also, you should watch the Roman Reigns and CM Punk promo confrontation that ended the show as well, because that was worth a watch. So that's pretty much the video. See you for the next one, or be cursed, and have a good day.
Okay, we're gonna stop sharing there. about the Danhausen thing, I don't know what to think about that. I really don't, because to me, I wasn't very excited about Danhausen because I heard of the AEW stench on him. Again, anyone who watches my show, again, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, not trying to trigger anybody. Trigger warning for those who like AEW and follow it. Obviously, I don't like AEW. And I think anyone who comes from AEW to WWE has that stench on them of pure bleh. So, again, it pays to be friends with CM Punk, who is one of the most charismatic wrestlers in the world. I wouldn't say he's the best in the world because that's Curt Hennig, but I would say he may be second best. But again, CM Punk is not perfect, right? There's only one Mr. Perfect, and you look at him behind me, right? So anyway, wanted to get that in there only because I'm not sure what they have planned for Danhausen. I haven't really been watching Raw or SmackDown. I've kind of been catching up with it on the Jim Cornette show. And that's the other thing we are going to broadcast. Jim Cornette had something very sweet to say for Dennis Condrey, who just recently passed away. So I'm going to get that up for you. I'm going to take a 5-minute break and we will listen along together. All right, fans, and we're back. So we're not going to listen to all of this because it is an hour and 48 minutes long, but I do encourage you to check out the official Jim Cornette. I think it's official Jim Cornette's YouTube. Yeah, official Jim Cornette. Yeah. So it is the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. And again, he has some really, and I listen to him on Spotify, so you can listen to the Jim Cornette Experience. You can also check out the Drive-Thru with Jim Cornette. If you are interested in hearing great stories, I think Jim knocks it out of the park. And again, Jim also, again, check it out down in my archives. Jim also answered a question from me about Curt Hennig, of course. So anyway, we are going to listen to a little bit of this. It is the passing of Dennis Condrey. Rest in peace, my brother. So we'll take it away. I don't know if Jim may get emotional. I apologize if he gets emotional. If you get emotional, trigger warning for those. This is very sad because Dennis Condrey and Jim Cornette were very close at one point, or at least were, together for some time. So I do apologize if Jim does get emotional. Well, I don't apologize for that because, the man has a right to mourn his friend. Okay. All right, here we go.
All right, folks, we are back on the program, and actually, if you're listening to this as a standalone clip on YouTube, what I'm about to say for the next little bit might not make any sense to you, but stick with us. But if you're listening to this podcast in its entirety, we've already recorded a couple of hours, and what we were going to do, because we recorded what you've just heard on Friday, March the 20th, and since it was SmackDown night, we left the show unfinished because we were going to come back Saturday morning and just tell everybody what happened on SmackDown, and it'd be swell. And at the same time as we finished recording on Friday afternoon, I didn't know until later, but something else was going on. And so we've come back a little bit later than we intended to because I needed the second, but everybody has heard the news on everywhere. It was amazing. It's been everywhere from TMZ to Sports Illustrated to the New York Post, or whatever the case. Dennis Condrey passed away Friday evening from an accident in his house. And what had happened was normal day, and his wife, Teresa, she's in nursing. She was at work. She had to go in and train some people that day. And he always picks her up. And so she texted him right as she was about to get off, 4:00. And he didn't answer her back, and that was unusual. And as she looked out in the parking lot, he wasn't there. Then she knew something was wrong. So she called the neighbors, and their country people told the neighbor where the key was hid so that he could go in and see what was wrong. And Dennis had fallen in their hallway, and not like downstairs or any like off of anything. Whether he had tripped is possible, or whether, as I think about it, may have been more something that he had some kind of dizzy spell where he couldn't catch himself on the way down. And in the way he fell, he broke his neck and severely damaged his spinal cord. And he was still in the floor when the neighbor found him and was able to turn him over. He was cognizant of what was happening, but by the time the ambulance got there, they got him to the hospital. A number of things happened. The point being, he was paralyzed at that point from the chest down, and with the injuries that he had sustained, and again with his neck, because people are going to be saying, well, what the fuck, right? Because I said, what the fuck? Dennis Condrey that took fucking bumps for 50 years, fucking, he trips in the hall and breaks his neck. But you got to think not only the years of bumps, but also 4 cancer battles and multiple surgeries. They took his voice box out. The cancer started in his neck, spread to his throat. Chemotherapy and or all of the procedures. Who knows what kind of shape his neck was in to take any kind of a blow at this point, being 75 years old. So they didn't really have to make a decision. He was on a respirator, but that wasn't going to last. So his wife, Teresa, was not put in that position, although she knew what he would have wanted. But the suckage, for a number of reasons, when a guy beats cancer multiple times, has been clean, clear for ages, had the artificial voice box, but has been more cheerful than he's ever been in his life. And to have this freak thing happen. And also he had been bugging Teresa about retiring because she's only 67, but now that's her full Social Security retirement age. So he had been bugging her about retiring so they could spend some more time together. And they had some plans, and the last day she was going to be at work was the end of this month, 9 days away. So I'm not meaning to tell, everybody's personal business here with exactly what happened, but I know that the details, at least as we sit here, have not been out yet. And who knows with this business, I want to make sure everybody knew that he wasn't like, partying on the top of the roof or some ridiculous shit. Because that's the one thing about Dennis is he was quite feisty in his younger years, but he has been, and especially since he's two things, not only getting a second chance at life almost 10 years ago now or whatever, but also just seeing the fan fests and the thing that he spent a long time thinking that, well, a wrestling business, nobody remembers me. and to see that's why he's been going to some of these things. And it's not like he's been in high demand and flying back and forth all across the country on a regular basis, but to do the ones he's done has meant something, to see the way the people still remember him now more than ever. Teresa was shocked, at least, that it was on TMZ, Sports Illustrated, that this and that. And I mean, everybody
internationally, and we'll get to it in a minute. But what is it the kids say? Your favorite so-and-so's favorite so-and-so?
Yeah. Everybody is coming out and saying, Jesus, it's not just me now. It's when Ric Flair or Arn Anderson and the Hardys, Nick Aldis, these people say Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey were the best heel tag team in the business, and we learned from them. They're not just making that up. And Dennis hit that point right where the pay-per-view era had just started, when his time was really just about ending, and the videos that exist of him are not as numerous, but everybody, and we'll talk about it, that was ever in the ring with him. So this is, this is one of the greatest talents in the business. But like I started to say, and then I'll take a breath here for a second, he was somewhat feisty in his younger days, but he has also been a regular person, except for the Fan Fest excursions, for a long time now. And the biggest reason is that I think Teresa is tougher than Ronda Rousey, because she tamed Dennis Condrey. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew, as I said, that without going into everybody's family personal details, that's the basic issue that happened. And it's just such a freak thing, but nothing could have been done. There's no way to predict it.
And like you said, we've seen an outpouring of support and messages about Dennis Condrey, and a lot of people thinking of his wife, Teresa. Dax Harwood of FTR set up a GoFundMe. Anyone interested can go search for GoFundMe Dennis Condrey. It'll come right up. And a lot of people, from Tony Khan to the Young Bucks to Chris Jericho to Cody Rhodes, contributed to help Teresa however they can going forward. Obviously, you just laid out what her situation is. And, it is one of those things where, for a lot of years.
And if you would like to do that, if you would like to contribute to the GoFundMe, it's Dennis. All you have to do is Google Dennis Condrey GoFundMe, and please help his widow. Our thoughts are with her at this moment. I'll try to find that, and I'll put that in the description field for you. All right, back to this.
You understand why. You kind of just laid it out in a way I haven't heard anyone else say about the eras. He left right before the pay-per-view era really began. For so many who, like me, who love Stan and Bobby, it was almost like after the fact, there was a reevaluation process. And thankfully, there are all of these matches on tape, whether it's the Mid-South house shows or the Houston matches with or without commentary. You have so much footage to see. And I think as time went on, it started blowing people away. You hear people say how smooth Dennis was. That's not even good enough a term. People say like a Lance Storm or someone is smooth, and sometimes it almost looks not theatrical, but smooth to the point where you could tell it's smooth. Dennis was smooth so that it felt natural.
Dennis was seamless. It was seamless in terms. It wasn't smooth. It was rough sometimes. It looked rough, but at the same time, it was seamless because you couldn't figure out where it was put together. Where did they make this magic? He pulled it off. We'll talk more about this as we go, and I want to go back to something else you said, but
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Just to let everyone know, I did put Dennis Condry's GoFundMe in my description field. Please check that out right now in the description field for both Rumble and for YouTube. Please check that out and donate if you can. Okay, more of this.
He always knew where he was, to the point where if he's feeding the baby face in a comeback, and as he's starting toward the baby face decides to go another direction and do something else, he could just somehow stagger and change directions or drop to a knee or made it look like he meant to take 4 extra seconds to then take whatever. It was amazing. I watched him sometimes with green baby faces. Bobby and Dennis had a thing where if Bobby took a hip toss in a high spot, then Dennis knew to feed in and take the same thing, or vice versa. And they'd take a couple of hip tosses, slide out, baby face, rah-rah. The one baby face, he hip tossed Bobby, and here comes Dennis to feed him. And he didn't realize it. And Dennis hip tossed himself off the fucking guy, grabbing the guy's arm on the way by to make it look like he threw him. You couldn't. Just everything was precise. If it was a mistake, he could figure out a way where it didn't look like it. I don't know how else to explain it. You'd have to just sit and look at the films like the Zapruder films. But before we go there, I want to. You said something about the GoFundMe, and I had mentioned that when we did the Midnight Express figures, that one of the things that Dennis was concerned about was that he said, boy, this will really help us get our house paid off, so that, if something happens to me again, this was after his cancer issues, I don't have to worry about that with Teresa. And we made a heck of a dent. And I thank everybody for that, because he's been every month when he gets the check, he calls as soon as it comes in the mail, because that's, it's been a big deal for him. But we hadn't done it all yet. And the GoFundMe, sometimes I plug GoFundMes and sometimes I give to them. And other times, again, this today's world. Because you even asked me when we first heard about it, we're still trying to figure out, exactly who was doing what. You said, oh, is this legit? I said, yes, because Dax Harwood set it up. He asked Teresa if he could have the honor to do so, because Dennis he would have not have done it, probably. But at same point, since he knows it's for Teresa, he probably would have said okay. But Dax set it up. He said, let me have the honor of doing this to at least try to show you, and not only help you, but show you what Dennis meant to other people. I'm wording that horribly, but it's a place where people, if it's $10, if you can't, you can't, but you can just show that he entertains you or he meant something. And obviously now that's the thing. Teresa was right about to retire. She's 67. Dennis, the money that he made again, this is not a case of the millionaire buying fucking Lamborghinis. I've always said Dennis kept his bank account in his driveway in the 80s. He had nice cars. But then when he moved to Colorado and met Teresa, got out of the wrestling business, he had a stable business, not like a steady business, but a horse stable is what I'm trying to say. And he was a real fucking person, right? And he had that until even after he moved back to Alabama. But then almost 20 years ago, when the fucking economy went south again, people started leaving their horses. Instead of fucking getting paid to keep them, he was paying to feed them. And he's fucking got out of that. And again, the midnight reunions were great, and the fan fests and etc. But the big money that Dennis made in wrestling was 35 years ago. And it's not like this has all been, the way you make $1 million. They have been very happy with their regular lives. But at this point, in this country, when a guy's 70 something and has had multiple health issues and, whatever, it's not Not easy. So point is the GoFundMe is legitimate. And if anybody would like to send something, that's basically what Teresa's going to stay in the house. It's not a situation where it's like, oh, too many memories. She's happy there. And all of their stuff is there. And it's a, nice place. But they don't have goddamn 6-car garages and shit. So it's not like one of these celebrity GoFundMes. I just want to make that point. And I guess I've beaten that point into the ground. But as far as that's the thing is, you mentioned how smooth Dennis was or seamless or whatever we described it. It was just natural with him. Heyman said it best.
Okay. So we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for indulging me about a legend, Dennis Connery. Please rest in peace. And now it's time for our main event. And I don't know if I should show this or not. Maybe. Maybe we'll do it at the end. But anyway, let me take a 5-minute break and I'll get our main event up. All right, we're back. This is going to be a Rumble exclusive only, because this does have some music in it and it's probably copyrighted. So we are going to make this a Rumble exclusive. Unfortunately, YouTube, you guys will not see this. So if you do want to see this, please go over to Rumble and check that out. All right. This is just some bloopers. We found bloopers. I love bloopers. I love when people screw up. So why not have the greatest person in the world, who is Mr. Perfect, screw up? But Mr. Perfect doesn't screw up. He missed. Oh, no. All right. So that was a Rumble exclusive only. If you guys did not see that on YouTube, and you won't, please check that out. It will be a Rumble exclusive only. A fan just posted that because I am recording this. Excuse me, just a second. I am actually filming this episode on Curt's birthday, March 28th. And so if you would like to see that, again, YouTube, you guys will not hear that. If you would like to hear it, please go to my Rumble. It is in the description field. And my lipstick is causing my background to go, what is going on? So check that out if you are on YouTube and you want to check that out. Okay, so let me go ahead and get, I'm going to take another 5-minute break, and I'm going to get the main event up. All right, here we go. So here is our main event. It is Greg Gagne and Curt Hennig versus Billy Robinson and Dennis Stamp. So take it away.
For wrestling action on Pro Wrestling USA. We begin this time with a tag team battle. One fall, a 10-minute time limit. Introducing in the ring at this time, in the corner to my left, weighing 290 pounds, from Kansas City, Missouri, Dennis Stamp. His tag team partner, weighing 248 pounds, from Manchester, England. He is the champion of the British Empire, Billy Robinson. Their opponents, in the corner to my right, weighing 235 pounds, from Robbinsdale, Minnesota, part of the Axe Attack, he is Curt Hennig. His tag team partner, weighing 217 pounds, from Mound, Minnesota, high flyer Greg Gagne. Your referee, Larry Wazowski. Down now to my broadcast partner, Blackjack Lanza.
Thank you, Doug, and here we go. I'll tell you one thing. Greg Gagne, Curt Hennig have got to be one of the fastest, most scientific teams ever formed in the last few years. And they're up against a very good combination team, Dennis Stamp and Billy Robinson.
Dennis Stamp's a big guy, too, Jack, at 290 pounds. One of the biggest guys. In fact, he is the biggest guy in the ring right now. Gagne gets him from behind, but oh, look at that. Turned on a nice wrist lock. Turned it over. Turned Gagne's shoulder. There's a painful hold. Trying to break out of that, and there he goes back into a lock behind the back. Gets into the hammer lock. Is the tag off to Curt Hennig, who comes in and takes over the hold. A lot of ways into that hold and a lot of ways out of it. But boy, it hurts while you're in it.
It sure does. And one thing about Greg Gagne, when he was teamed up with Jim Brunzell, they kind of revolutionized professional wrestling during the 70s with their speed and constant flying and just a tremendous talent, the two of them together. And Curt Hennig is right alongside with him.
I'll tell you, Curt Hennig, there's a tag now, and Billy Robinson will come on to the relief if he needs any of Dennis Stamp. Stamp loath to leave the ring until referee Larry Lazowski orders him out. Billy Robinson, vastly experienced, champion of the British Empire. Overhead takedown, what a slam onto Curt Hennig.
It's a suplex. Billy Robinson can go in it from every different angle. Reverse neck breaker. Curt Hennig is definitely hurt.
There's the cover, but Hennig kicks out of it.
That's instinct when you do that.
Sometimes the mind is not functioning clearly, but Hennig goes right back at him. Here's a
all great wrestlers have that.
Lock from behind. Go down. There's the tag. Greg Gagne comes in and takes him down. Blocked by Gagne. 1, 2 counts. Robinson lifts that right shoulder off the mat, but Greg Gagne hangs on. Gagne coming off a painful, disabling injury. Suffered at the hands of King Kong, or the knee possibly of King Kong. There's a flying drop kick for the high flyer.
That's one thing about Greg Gagne. You think you got him, and in a split second he can turn the tables. He can jump from a drop kick from more places than any man I've ever seen. He is so quick.
There's the slap tag over in the corner. Dennis Stamp is back on.
Of course, he gets that from his father.
Sure does, boy. That's quick.
Nice fireman carry takedown by Stamp.
Head scissors thrown right back at him by Greg Gagne. Gagne's hanging on to that head scissors. Look at Dennis Stamp trying to kick his way out of it. Turns his way over. Straight up in the air. Turns Gagne over. Gagne still hanging on.
Greg Gagne is one of the great young wrestlers that we've seen.
Gagne got a 2 count on him, but that left shoulder is up. Now watch him try to...
This is putting pressure on his knees. Greg Gagne just come off that knee operation.
That's right. He doesn't need any more pressure on that knee, but Dennis Stamp pressuring the knee. Referee Larry Lazowski right there. Gagne turns around, gets him in a headlock, grabs him in the chin. Oh, they are all tied up. Look
Greg
at that.
Gagne knows every counter move in wrestling there is.
Boy, there was a great little turnaround there, and they got a 2.5 count on it practically. Greg Gagne squaring off against Dennis Stamp.
Greg Gagne has been training with his father, Vern Gagne, ex-heavyweight champion of the world, for a number of years now. You can see some of Vern Gagne in him.
High up and center. Look at that. 3 quick shots for the British Empire champion, Billy Robinson. Turnaround slam into the throat. Backing Gagne to the corner. What will come of this? Arm drag over. Gagne turns it around and slams him into the turnbuckles. Gagne slam down to the deck goes Robinson. Brilliant drop kick by Greg Gagne. Robinson up again like a flash, but Gagne turns that over with that wrist lock, makes the tag, heading to the second rope, slams him down. Again, grabbing with that wrist lock, twisting that arm. Very unnatural, painful position for the human arm to be in, I can tell you that.
There's so much pressure exerted on the wrist, and it hurts all the way up the arm, the elbow, the shoulder, the tricep.
Punch out of it by Robinson. Did he make the tag? Yeah, I guess he did.
Yes, he made the tag.
On comes Dennis Stamp to the corner. Oh, was that he just threw in a Curt Hennig? That sure looked like some kind of a chop with a...
I'll tell you, Dennis Stamp is tremendously conditioned athlete. He's enough for trouble. Okay, here comes Greg.
Look at Greg Gagne just flying in there. I'll tell you, what enthusiasm for the sport. Slamming Stamp in, up and over. Dennis Stamp. Look at that. Here's Gagne moving in, grabbing up by the hair, and shin right into the knee right to the chin.
He's softening him up for something, and I think I know what it is.
Here it comes. Into the ropes. Play!
Tremendous drop kick
high
again.
flyer. There's the
Tags off.
I tell you, it's just like
Set him right up for Curt.
a drop kick flying in off the second rope. 1 count, 2, 3. They made 3. That was it. Just barely.
Whoa, whoa.
It was just kept from interfering with it, but that's it. The winners of the match.
Woo.
Curt Hennig and Greg Gagne. Oh, the crowd likes that decision too. Very popular wrestlers.
Very exciting. There's a tremendous drop kick from Curt Hennig. I've never seen anyone do that.
Off the second rope, there's the cover. Robinson was coming in, but you
Whoa.
Right. Have a good tag team partner. You cover for your partner. That's exactly what Greg Gagne did.
There it
And
goes.
Curt stopped him for a 1, 2, 3.
Greg Gagne and Curt Hennig standing there with my partner Ken Resnick.
Take it away
Thank you very
again.
much. And as you can see with me, Curt Hennig, Greg Gagne, gentlemen, congratulations. Very, very impressive in that ring.
Well, thank you very much, Ken. First of all, I'd like to say hi to all the people back in New York. Curt Hennig's back, and he's stronger than ever. And I'd like to thank this man right here, Greg Gagne. I think we're doing a super job.
All right, Greg, this is
Out of breath. He's out of breath. He's out of breath.
What took place here at the Showdown
Kurt's out of breath.
ago, when once again,
just had a tough match.
El Casey up to his old tricks.
Well, Ken, for the last 7 months, because
Greg Gagne's out of breath.
and one of his men,
Everybody's out of breath.
I have not wrestled. Just in the last couple of weeks, I've made appearances here because I had surgery on my knee. Sheik Adnan LKC and his men did this. And now my partner, Jim Brunzell, who we wrestled together for 8.5 years, we held the world's tag team title on 2 different occasions, is incapacitated at this time due to neck injuries at the hands of Saito, the hands of Sheik Adnan LKC, and one man in particular. And where he came from, I don't know, and that's a mass superstar. But they have not heard the last of Jim Brunzell or Greg Gagne. And once again, I want to thank this young man right here, one of the finest.
Yay, Kurt! And happy birthday, because again, I am filming this on his birthday.
When we can expect Jim Brunzell
I'll say it in a
back
few
action.
minutes.
Well, Nick, Ken, he was having severe spasms in his neck the last couple weeks. The doctors have been with him. The extent of the injury is not one that's going to keep him out of wrestling for a long time. So
That's
like
good.
I said, he'll be back. When he comes back, Sheik, we're after you. We're after the masked man and Saito or whoever you want to bring in. But I've been laying up for 7 months, and all I've thought about is getting back in the ring and getting this man. And now he's put a damper in Jim and I again by stopping Jim.
Well, there's
Gonna
no
stop
question,
somewhere.
Greg, the entire world of professional wrestling world is certainly in your corner regarding Sheik Adnan LKC. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. More to come, including that great main event, the Fabulous Ones, the Road Warriors, and the Bombshell, Baron Von Raschke in the corner of the Fabulous Ones, right here on Pro Wrestling USA. We'll be right back.
All right. That is our main event, guys. Thank you so much for watching me. What I was trying to say while they were talking, I didn't want to, interrupt them because they are the greats, right? I wanted to say that, yes, I am filming this on March 28th. It would be Kurt's 68th birthday. He would have been 68 today. So happy birthday, Curt, wherever you are. I know that you are happy and smiling and laughing, especially because the Rumble guys. Again, guys, if you missed the Rumble exclusive, please head over to Rumble. My link is in the description. I know for sure that you do not have to sign up for Rumble. You can just see it. So check out that exclusive. It is some bloopers with Curt. I think that was on his DVD, his The Life and Times of Mr. Perfect. I think that is part of that. But at least he is a good sport about it and he laughs about it. When he makes a mistake, Mr. Perfect makes a mistake, he always laughs about it, right? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This is the end of our show. I know it always happens and goes so fast. But anyway, thank you for joining me, and we will be back next week with another episode of Nobody Beats Curt Hennig. Nobody. And I am your host, Mrs. Witchy Perfect. And remember, everyone, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody. Bye, guys. Hey, Curt Hennig fans. Hello, and welcome to the Shameless Plugs. I wanted to do an updated version because I no longer have Patreon. I don't know if anyone has seen and down in the description field. The first shameless plug I would like to do is for my Cash App and my PayPal account. If you can donate, please, please, please donate today. I actually had one donation, but that was more for my birthday. So anyway, if you can donate, please see the links in the description field for my PayPal and my Cash App. I'd like to start off by saying also, and I will say this at the end, I have an AI outro that is AI generated. I actually made a country song dedicated to Curt. I made several. Just in case there also maybe in the future or right now is going to be an AI intro. So I just want to let you know that the intro also could be AI, and this is for Amazon. Excuse me. This is for YouTube only. YouTube only. So the first shameless plug I would like to do is Kit Cabello. He is one of my great friends. Excuse me. I love him to death, and what a great man, great guy, all around great friend as well. You can catch him on Heartlands Media. That's 9 a.m. Central, Monday through Friday, and he will tell it like it is. Trust me, he will tell it like it is. Can't say enough great things about Kit Cabello. Also, check out Angel Riviera. He is in Angel in the Afternoon, and of course, he is my host for Pro Wrestling Talk. Pro Wrestling Talk is every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though those are scheduled to change due to family issues or WrestleMania or a pay-per-view. Also, I would like you to, but definitely check out Angel in the Afternoon. It is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and he also tells it like it is. Way to go, Angel. Okay, on to deconstructing topics. My big brother, Dave. I can't say enough great things about Dave. He is a big supporter of mine, and I'm a big supporter of him. If you check out Deconstructing Topics, he has his own show. I'm not sure what episode he's on right now, but he has a great podcast. Please listen to it. You can check it out on YouTube. I don't know if he's on Rumble, but I'll see if I can get a Rumble link. All these links are in the description field if you want to check these people out. Also, I'd like to mention my little kid brother, Alex Knight. We are actually not really related, but I see him like a little brother. So anyway, Alex Knight, you can find him on Angel in the Afternoon. You can also catch him on Pro Wrestling Talk. And I think he's going to do a baseball podcast with Angel as well. So check that out. That'll be on Sundays. I'm not sure the time. I'll have to get that from Angel later. But I just want to make sure that you check him out because he is a great person and someone I can call friend and little brother. The next shameless plug I'd like to do really fast is Black Magic Talk is my other show, guys. If you would like to check that out, all you have to do is click the link in the description field, and blessed be to you if you are also a witch, wizard, or warlock, or whatever you call yourself. You can check that out in the description field. We have a lot of fun over there. I love to have on special guests, especially Sonia Smith. She's a very dear friend of mine. I hope you will subscribe to all these people on YouTube or on Rumble. We are also on Rumble. The Rumble description field, the link is in the description field. Sorry. If you would like to check that out, this will be going on YouTube, of course, because I don't need this for Rumble. I could put it on Rumble. I think I might. So if you are on Rumble watching this and you would like to see the YouTube version of this, it's mostly audio that you will see, except for this part, right? Just check us out on YouTube. The link is in the description field. And again, if you want to check out Black Magic Talk, you can check that out too, where we talk everything pagan and Wiccan. There is no evil or black magic, of course. It's all great fun, and we have a good time. If you like a personal tarot reading from me, click the link in the description field below. I can get you my, my pricing and stuff. If you would like to be a guest on the Black Magic Talk, or if you'd like to be on Pro Wrestling Talk, you can DM me on X. My X is in the description field for both Black Magic Talk and for Curt Hennig podcast. Go ahead and hit those in the description field and DM me, and feel free to ask if you'd like to be a guest. If there's anything else, concerns, or if you would like to just give feedback, you can always DM us on X and so on. Again, just want to mention my Cash App and my PayPal account are in the description field. If you can give to the show, great. If not, please enjoy the show. That's what we are mainly here for, just for your entertainment purposes only. And again, I will reiterate that the AI outro song is AI generated. That is for everyone, for Rumble and for YouTube. Also, there could be an AI intro song. Just want to let you know that if there's ever an intro song, it is AI generated on YouTube. I created a couple of songs here and there, a couple of country songs I think that Curt would like. So I hope you check those out. And remember, everyone, nobody beats Mr. Perfect or Curt Hennig. Nobody.
I remember those nights in the TV glow, watching you a hero in the ring. With every match, you'd steal the show, making us believe in impossible things. Golden locks and a confident stride, wrestling through battles both big and small. With a perfect plex, you turned the tide, Mr. Perfect, you had it all. Oh, Mr. Perfect, where'd you go? In our hearts, you still steal the show. In a world that's moved too fast, your legacy's meant to last. Behind the glitz and all the fame was a man with strength and grace. Though we never knew your name, you left a mark time can't erase. I can still hear that entrance theme echoing through arenas and TV screens. A legend in his prime and dream, you remain in all our scenes. Oh, on the nights when stars glow bright, I think of you and your fearless fight. Gone too soon, but still inside, Mr. Perfect, you are a guiding light. Oh, Mr. Perfect, where'd you go? In our hearts, you still steal the show. In a world that's moved too fast, your legacy's meant to last. Oh, Mr. Perfect, where'd you go? In our hearts, you still steal the show. In a world that's moved too fast, your legacy's meant to last. Behind the glitz and all the fame was a man with strength and grace. Though we never knew your name, you left a mark time can't erase. Though we never knew your name, you left a perfect, you were a guide.